What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be discussing about the concept of scap retraction. Now, this is a very common topic where in the industry, it is viewed as in like the standard of what high velocity throwers do to increase their velocity. So to describe what it is when the arm is in spiral, and this can come in many ways, shapes, and form, the elbow will start to retract back, therefore almost kind of getting this quick pinch, which is going to give you that separation from the elbow to the pec, right? So in theory, scientifically, mathematically speaking, with that new acquired separation, you have larger distance to apply force for a longer amount of time. And while it does make sense, obviously, reminder, guys, that we are more biological than what we are mechanical. So a lot of these different concepts with scap retraction isn't going to fall and fit with majority of the athletes, right? It's a fine in between of who it's good for, who isn't good for, and that's exactly what we're going to dive in on in this video. And at the end, I'll be giving you guys some drills if you can actually get scap retraction, what you should be doing, and if you need to think about scap retraction differently, then I have some drills for that as well. Now, before we do get started, my name is Anthony Rodriguez, coach and founder of Versatile Athletics. We've trained over 200 plus athletes, increase their velocity, move pain-free, while helping them understand how their bodies naturally prefer to move. With that said, let's get back into the video. So a lot of athletes are definitely trying to get more scap retraction because they don't know any better, or just because they've seen it or heard it from somebody that just went viral on social media. This concept, if it doesn't apply for that specific athlete, then is going to dig him into a bigger hole than what he already was, because it's going to lead him towards injuries, mechanical inefficiencies, overthinking on the mound, and the velocity is more than likely going to drop. Now, keep in mind, guys, when I do say scap retraction, right, I'm more so speaking about the concept of getting and pulling the elbow back, right, to retract, which is going to get that scapular pinching. However, we all get scap retraction, but we all get it differently. And what I mean by that is some athletes, yes, when they go and get that scap retraction and it's involving more scap pinching, other athletes would naturally have their arms float upward, or they would catch that retraction once they start to pull with the pec. So if my arm never scaps retract this way and it just naturally floats up this, just like this, when I start to rotate the trunk, my pec is going to pull the trunk, leave the arm lagging behind, and this is another form of scap retraction. So those are the major two scap retractions that I've seen. Now, obviously, you can get in those scap retractions differently depending on who you are. You may think about the elbow, you may think about the hand, you may think of just pinching the scap, whatever the cue is for you. If it works for you, it works for you. Now, there's two major forms of scap retraction, whether it's directly pinching the scaps or being caught with the elbow with a just straight up hand float. It can be influenced by a variety of different things. So, for example, main one is your motor preferences. What does your body prefer to do? Does your body prefer to get scap retraction? Does it not? If it does it prefer to lead with the hand, with the elbow, or what is the length of the arm in terms of like the spiral, like what is that sweet spot for you? So the preferences have something to do with that. Your experiences, if you'd say, like, who are you being taught by? You might have been taught to get scap retraction since you were younger, and this is a concept that you've kind of were brought on your whole entire life. So you've done so much rep that you're already like getting into that active scap retraction of like pinching the scaps. I mean, and if that's been you, you're kind of screwed. I mean, just playing with you guys. Obviously, there's always something that we can do, but that's another way that an athlete may simply be getting that type of scap retraction without it being for him. Or the other one may actually be hypermobile athletes. It's equivalent to the amount of mobility that you have. If you're very loose, very mobile, your body's somewhat going to look like you're getting the extreme scap retraction. So overall, those are the two major types of scap retraction. And I'll give you guys like two different athletes to show you guys. So here we have Sir Anthony Dominguez. Obviously, like, you guys are seeing his arm spiral, how he is getting deep into that scapular pinching. And then if we look at someone like Ryan Helsley, you can see how his arm naturally just floats up, and then he pulls the arm into layback or into retraction as he starts to pull with the pec, right? So those are the two major different ones. And then obviously the way that you're going to be getting in on those is going to be dependent on who the person is. But now that we've covered that, the two types, what are some drills that I like to do for athletes that love to get into scap retraction? So a main popular one is going to be a pivot pickoff. It's going to involve you facing on the opposite way of where the target is. And once you create that trunk rotation, your arm is naturally going to get into that scap retraction position for then you to release out in front. Second, if you want to progress that drill and go into a separational drill, what I like to do is I like to put those athletes in a split stance position, and when they're in the split stance position, they're getting scap retraction with a front foot bounce to make the movement a little bit more dynamic. Keep in mind though, that drill is more so for athletes who have a specific type of preference. But if you are trying to get scap retraction and you need to progress it and be a little bit more dynamic, it can sure work as well. Now the next drill, that I like to call this a Juan Soto with scap load. And what we're gonna do is kind of like the Juan Soto shuffle, where we're here kind of going back and forth. And as we're doing that, we're getting this scap retraction as well. From there, we go up and then down and out into the delivery. But again, it's another way and form of progressing that drill to make it more closer towards how you actually pitch on the mound, or how would you actually move while still getting that scap retraction. Now for athletes who prefer to get scap retraction differently, which is going to be the hands floating up and then you pull with the pec as a reminder, I would like to start them in a split stance abbreviated position. Right, so abbreviated positions when we're presetting the arm at a 90-degree angle are great because it really teaches them pulling with the pec. And once you pull with the pec, you're going to get that separation from the elbow to the pec, which again is going to be the scaps retracting backwards, but it's starting with the pull of the pec. Second, after that, if you want to progress that a little bit into a more dynamic arm swing, you can do regular roll-ins, but if you don't like to have a movement into the throw and you want to stay on the split stance, you can do some pendulum throw. So in this position, we're going to be in a split stance position, and we're just going to let the arm kind of pendulum down and up. So as you see, the arm doesn't really get behind my back. It's just floating down, it's just floating up. And after 2 to 3 different reps, I'm going to catch the arm flip up, and I'm going to pull with the pec down and out into my target. So that's a way that you can allow the arm to flip up and then get that scap retraction through that pec pull. Now this last one is actually more of a constraint and is more so for guys who have been taught getting scap retraction, or maybe you have a lot of mobility and your body doesn't prefer, you know, the scap retraction type where you're actually pinching the scap back. You guys can do some regular throws or like dry reps with a wall behind you, right? So with a wall behind you, all we want to do is obviously give it our back, but we want to go through our motion and mimic that. And of course, the wall in the back, the job for it is that you're not going to be able to swing the arm back here. Now, yes, once we leave the wall alone and you're throwing, would you probably get there? Yeah, absolutely. This is just a constraint to put you on that far end of the other spectrum to give you a little bit of fine in between. That's about everything I have for you guys for this video. So far we covered the 2 major different type of scap retraction, pinch loading, and then the arm floating up and catching it with the pec. Those are the main 2 that I've seen. Now the cleanest, fastest way for you to know if it works for you or if it doesn't, we run all of our athletes through a motor preference assessment, which gives us the understanding of how their central nervous system naturally prefers to move and organize. Now, just by doing this, we throw away all the trials and error and we directly focus on what the athlete now needs. Now, with that said, we're better able to cue the athlete as to like how he should be moving on the mound, how he should be thinking about the arm spiral, whether thinking about being longer with the arm, shorter with the arm, thinking about the hand, thinking about the elbow, you name it. It all falls into that category, and it gives us the best access possible for us to give our athletes the quickest result possible by teaching them already what their bodies naturally prefer to do. That's all I have for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, follow, click the like button. And if you are looking for a better approach to take care of all this for you, where all you have to do is wake up, look at your plan, and execute, book a call with us down below in the description. And I would love to have you guys in if you guys are fit. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.